I know, boys. Yeah! Good on you, Thomas Burgess! Good on you, Tommy! South Sydney! Yes! Yes! Go! Yes! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! Go! Go! Yes! 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 Go! Yeah! Yeah! Good on you, Joy! Let's go, boys! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! Go! Go! Yes! Yes! G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Cody's Footy World. Hope you guys are doing very well on this fine Tuesday afternoon / Tuesday evening, or whenever you're watching this video. Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I will be giving you my round 8 NRL, giving my round 8 NRL tips of the 2025 season. Round 8 is also known as, this week is Anzac round. Anzac Day is on Friday. We have 3 quality games happening on Friday, on this week as well. Anzac round, another theme round as tradition for each regular NRL season. Anzac round, we are celebrating the people who fought for World War I and World War II across both Australia and New Zealand. A national public holiday across both days as well. So one of the most great rounds that we look forward to each year. And of course, there will be Anzac celebrations spread across all 8 games, and before each kickoff this week, there will be a ceremony for each one as well. But anyways, before getting to the tipping video, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and don't forget to comment down below on what you think of my tips, and comment down below as well what your tips will be for round 8. And of course, this week I will be travelling to another game. I will be travelling to Melbourne, but we'll get into that very shortly. But before we get into this week's tips, let's just go over briefly last week. And what a shit week I had for tipping. I only had 2 correct last week. I'm not kidding. Only 2 games I got correct last week. The worst round I have done since Magic Round last year. Or just the round before or whatever last year. It was so terrible. Only 2. I'm still above half. 32 out of 56, I think it is. So, still doing good, but still terrible last week. Only 2 correct. Now, let's go through the games that we got correct and wrong last week. So, Manly vs Dragons. Tip Manly. They lost by 2. Good Friday. Well, more like a shit Friday. Tipped the Rabbitohs, and we got belted 32-0. Enough said. And then for the other Good Friday game, Melbourne getting defeated 42-22. How good. Dolphins' first win over the Storm. And Dolphins have beaten every team now except one, the Bulldogs. Good on them for beating the Storm. Saturday games, tipped the Broncos just lost to the Warriors 20 points to 18. Tipped the Roosters. I regretted that, and they couldn't recapture what they did to the Panthers back in round 2, losing 40 points to 12. The Sunday games got both correct. Raiders beating the Titans 30-20, and the Sharks beating the Knights 34-14. And then the Monday game, Eels finally getting the second win of the season. Moses returning. Tipped the Tigers, lost 38-22. Still a good game between each other though. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's get into the round 8 tips, and hopefully we do better. Not better than fucking 2. At least get 4 or 5. I don't care, as long as it's not 2 this week. And our first game kicks off with a blockbuster game. On the Thursday night, we have, from Suncorp Stadium, the 5th place Brisbane Broncos going on against the 1st place and still remaining team undefeated, the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, in 1st place from Suncorp Stadium from 7:50 p.m. Now, in last week's games for both teams, the Bulldogs in Good Friday, thrashing the Rabbitohs in the front of the highest ever recorded attendance regular season game of 65,000, 32 points to nil, winning their first Good Friday clash since 2017. And as for the Broncos, well, they lost to the Warriors by 2 points in Golden Point, the second Golden Point of the season, losing 20 points to 18. Reece Walsh kicks on the full, and as a result, the Warriors' Luke Metcalf kicked a 50-metre penalty goal, and they lose the game like that, 20 points to 18. Now let's go through the team list for both the teams, shall we? So for the Broncos, a major one. Reece Walsh is out with a knee injury, I believe a PCL injury. Selwyn Cobbo goes in fullback, and Dean Mariner comes onto the wing. Brendan Piacora returns on the bench after serving a 2-game ban. And one change for the Bulldogs. Jack Todd is injured with a fractured arm. So Harry Haynes joins the bench, and Daniel Saluka Fafita is listed at 18th man, and says here, Bulldogs are aiming for 7 wins in a row for the first time since 2014. That is an interesting stat there. And some stats, other stats here as well. Broncos have won 5 of their last 6 against the Bulldogs. Yep, Bulldogs aiming for 7 consecutive wins since 2014. Jesse Uffers has scored 9 tries in 7 games in this year. Adam Reynolds requires 15 points to overtake Bulldogs legend Hazran El Mazraoui and move into second on the all-time premiership point scorers list. Well, that is not happening this way, unfortunately. Now, in the head-to-head between the two teams, there have been 62 games. Broncos winning 36, Bulldogs winning 25, and 1 draw thrown in there as well. And in the last 10 games between each other, Broncos have won 7 of the last 10, just like we said before, 5 of the last 6, winning 5 in a row. However, the last time these two played, the Bulldogs thrashed the Broncos, winning 41-16, and that was up at Suncorp Stadium as well. So we could see history repeat itself this week, but we will see. But for this game, I'm going to stick with the Bulldogs. Bulldogs to win 1-12 by 12 points. Bulldogs to win 26 points to 14. First try scorer comes from the Broncos. Tony Staggs, I reckon, scores first. Anytime try scorers, we will go John Ricky. And for the Bulldogs, we'll go Stephen Crichton score. So Bulldogs to win this one, 1-12, and remain undefeated in 2025. And now we move into our first of our 3 Friday games. The first one kicking off at 4 p.m. on Friday afternoon. The traditional Anzac Day clash between the 16th place Sydney Roosters and the 7th place St George Illawarra Dragons from Allianz Stadium. Kicking off at 4 p.m. Now for the Roosters last week, couldn't recapture what they did, but beating what they did in round 2 against the Panthers. Unfortunately, losing 40 points to 12 to the Panthers at Allianz again. And as for the Dragons, well, they managed to beat the Sea Eagles finally at 4 Pines Park, and they managed to hold off a mealy comeback, winning 20 points to 18. So good on the Dragons, and they're finally in the top 8 for this round as well. So now let's go for the team list for both of the teams. So Billy Smith returns from suspension, which sees Mark Nawar shift to the wing, and Dom Young has been dropped, which is a massive surprise. Spencer Linney starts at prop in the absence of Nat Butcher suffered a knee injury, while Angus Crichton returns from a groin pump problem, which sees Cecilia Forcatetti onto the bench. Egan Butcher comes onto the bench for his first NRL game since he suffered an ACL injury in round 12 last year. And as for the Dragons, Sani Fanau has been called onto the wing to replace Matt Figo, who suffered a fibular fracture with a high-grade cystinosis injury in the tackle. Whoa, that is massive. Emma Gula returns from suspension on the bench to fill the hole left by Hamish Shulman, who suffered a concussion. So quite a few changes there, but Dom Young dropped. That is massive, and we'll see how they go for the team list this week. So, Roosters have won 11 of the past 13 games against the Dragons. Dragons have only won 1 of the last 5 Anzac Day clashes between them and the Roosters. James Tedesco has scored 7 tries in his past 5 against the Dragons, and Blake Laurie will make his 150th NRL appearance. Congratulations to Blake Laurie. So there have been 51 games between the Sir George Illawarra Dragons and the Roosters since 1999. Roosters winning 28, Dragons winning 22, and there's 1 draw thrown in there as well. And in the past 10 games between each other, Roosters have won 8 of the last 10, including winning 5 of the last 7 games as well. And that's like we said, the Roosters have won 4 of the last 5 Anzac Day clashes. The last time the Dragons won Anzac Day clashes back in 2022, where they won 14 points to 12. And also, this will be the 24th Anzac Day clash between the Dragons and the Roosters. Dragons winning 12, and the Roosters have won 11. So, if the Roosters win the next one, it'll be 12 all apiece. But we'll see how they go. But for this game is actually a flip of a coin game, if you ask me. But for this one, I'm going to go with the away team. I'm going to go with the Dragons for this one. Dragons to win by 6. Scoreline of 24-18. First try scorer comes from the Roosters. Billy Smith to score first. And anytime try scorers for the Roosters will go Angus Crichton, and will also go James Sewer. So, Dragons to win this one, 1-12. Alright, now we move into our second of 3 games on the Friday. Kicking off at 6 p.m. New South Wales time. 8 o'clock New Zealand time. We head over, not to Mount Smart Stadium this time, but to Apollo Project Stadium. The second time the Warriors had taken a game there, and they're going to a new stadium as part of the agreement for next year. We have the 4th place New Zealand Warriors playing it against the 14th place Newcastle Knights. In our last week's game, the Knights got defeated heavily at home, losing to the Sharks 34 points to 14, now losing 4 in a row games after winning the first 2. And as for the Warriors, winning the game after the Broncos had come back in Golden Point, Reece Walsh kicked it out on the full, which led to an amazing 50-point penalty goal from Luke Metcalf, securing the win for the Warriors' 4th win of the season and remaining undefeated in New Zealand so far this year. Winning 2018. What a marvellous win that was for the Warriors. Did not expect that to happen after they got defeated heavily last week against the Storm. Let's go through the team list for both teams. So, Charles Nickel-Klokstad returns from a concussion at fullback. So, Tane Tuapiki moves to the wing, and Ed Abukose drops to the reserves. Rocco Berry is also back on deck after a 1-game ban. Kurt Capewell returns to back row, and Lekar Halasima returns to the bench. Tadari Martin goes to 18th man after coming on the bench against the Broncos. And as for the Knights, Dylan Lucas is back on deck after a hamstring injury, so Thomas Cant moves back to the bench, and Jemery McEwen makes way. Jack Ogg has been named the extended squad as he looks to return from a finger injury. So, a couple changes there for both teams, but Warriors team obviously looking a lot more better on paper. Now, some stats here. The Warriors have won 4 of their past 6 in Christchurch. The Knights have only won 2 of the last 17 games played in New Zealand. That is terrible. Luke Metcalf and rookie Lakia Halasima have scored tries in 3 consecutive games. The Knights have been outscored 100 points to 24 in their past 4, and Adam Pompey has scored 6 tries in 8 games against the Knights. Wowee. There have been 51 games between the Knights and Warriors, both winning 25 each, so whoever wins this game will break the tie, and there's been 1 draw thrown in there as well. In the past 10 games between each other, the Knights have won 6 of the last 10. However, they have lost 3 of the last 5. And they did beat the Warriors last time out, beating them 14 points to 8 at McDonald Jones last year. However, their last win in New Zealand against the Warriors was in 2019 at Mount Smart Stadium, where they beat them 36 points to 18. Like we said, 2 out of the last 17 games they haven't won in New Zealand, which is nuts to think about. But for this game, fairly straightforward. Warriors to win this one. I reckon they will win 13 plus, honestly. Warriors to win by 18, scoreline, 30 points to 12. First try scorer, Adam Pompey. Anytime try scorers for the Warriors will go. Matara Nirakora, and for the Knights in this return game, I reckon Dylan Lucas will score. So Warriors to win 13 plus. And now we move into our final game of the free Friday games. We have heading to Amy Park, and of course, I'm going to be there for my second time ever at Amy Park. Of course, I'm talking about the second place Melbourne Storm going head-to-head against my boys, and still in the 8 somehow. South Sydney Rabbitohs in 8th place at Amy Park, kicking off at 8:10 p.m. So both teams coming off shocking losses last week. I'll start with my team first. 32-0, losing to the Bulldogs, and getting our first loss on Good Friday since 2017. Wowee. But yeah, so shocked that we didn't score a single point last week. I mean, we had chances, but Bulldogs defense was just too good. Credit to the Dogs, but fuck me, that was the worst game I've ever seen from our boys in such a long time. And the first time we were held scoreless since 2021, ironically against the Storm, and that was at McCall Stadium as well. So that was interesting, but hopefully we can bounce back this week. But we'll get into that in a second. And as for the Storm, shocking loss, going out 16 points to 2 against the Dolphins, and then to lose 42-22. Dolphins getting their first win over the Storm since in their history. That is nuts. But this is a must-win game for both teams. As we know about the Storm on Anzac Day, that's pretty much their best game or their best fixture that they look forward to each year. But let's get into the team list, shall we? So for the Storm first. So Jack Howard suffered a shoulder injury. So Nick Minnie has finally returned from a jaw injury. Dewey Kamifa is out with an ankle injury, taken place by Lazarus Falape. Nelson Salomona continues to work through the NRL's return to play protocols for concussion, has been listed among the reserves for the Anzac Day game. And as for my boys, well, Latrell Mitchell returns at fullback, and Jai Gray's on the bench. Why? He's the leading Dally anthem at the moment, and he's been dropped to the bench. Why? I don't understand it. Why not just have Latrell in the centres, keep Jai at fullback? No, Ewan Aiken's gone back to the back row. And why are we playing Tass? He was shocking last week. Oh my god. I don't get it. Lewis Stoddard drops out. Bailey Bentley Hape comes onto the wing. I don't mind Bailey, but in this game, no, I don't think so. So Campbell Graham returns to centre. Ewan Aiken returns to the back row. Shane Sullivan is back from suspension, and Cody Walker is at 5'8" in the proper position. Latrell and Cody last week were horrible. And unfortunately, Lachlan Hubner is out with a HIA, so Jai Arrow slides into the lock. And some stats here as well for the game. So, the Storm have won all 19 games against the Rabbitohs in Melbourne. But we have beaten the Storm as the away team, but that was at Magic Round 2 years ago. Campbell Graham has scored 6 tries in his last 7 games against the Storm. Storm have scored 128 points in 3 games at Amy Park this year. Wayne Bennett coached team has not defeated the Storm since 2016, so it's been 9 years, wowee. And Xavier Coates has scored 34 tries in 30 games. Now, a head-to-head between each other, there have been 41 games. The Storm 34, the Rabbitohs 7. The Storm are the worst team we play against. And we've got like an 86% losing streak against the Storm as well, which is... I mean, we've beaten them at least, but we've never beaten them back-to-back, and we only beat them like every 4 to 5 years or so. But we beat them in the finals at least. I think only once, I think. But in the past 10 games between each other, Melbourne have won 7 of the last 10, including winning 3 of the last 4 games, and we have won 2 of our last 3 against the Storm as well. And like we said, Rabbitohs have not won in Melbourne. They've been 19 games. We've played in Melbourne and lost all of them. This is the 20th time. Can this be the chance this week? I hope so, but I really doubt it. But we will see. And as always, when it comes to the Rabbitohs, I'm backing my boys no matter what, but no confidence with this game. At least we'll score, hopefully. And so, should we win, I'll be very excited. I'll be probably emotional as well. First try scorer goes to the Storm. Well, sorry, Rabbitohs win by 4. 24-20 scoreline. Xavier Coates to score first. Anytime try scores, Eli Katoa, and we'll go Keon Kolomatoni to score as well. So, come on, boys, let's show up to Amy Park on Friday night on Anzac Day. Be proud. I'll be there. Watch the game. Come on, Rabbitohs. If we lose, this will be 3 in a row. But let's bounce back. Let's go, Rabbitohs. 1-12. All right, now we move on to our Super Saturday games. No 3 p.m. game once again. So we head to 5:30 p.m. from Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. We have the 9th place North Queensland Cowboys going against the 13th place Gold Coast Titans. So we have another Queensland derby. Now, last week, the Titans coming off a loss against the Raiders, leading 16-0, and they choked and let the Raiders win 30-20. As for the Cowboys, coming off their first bye of the season, last time out, back in Perth, beating my boys, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, in a very good game, 24 points to 16, winning 3 in a row games after losing their first 3, so they're aiming for a 4th consecutive win. Now let's go through the team list for both teams. John Bateman returns from an infection, and Jamarai Nanai moves into the starting side, so Kai O'Donnell and Sam McIntyre go to the bench. Harrison Edwards drops to 18th man. David Fafita has been named to start, despite that he has suffered a hamstring injury, while Khan Pereira is also back from a hamstring injury. Brock Gray returns from suspension with Khalees Hart and Isaac Falasamalawa dropping off the bench. So not many changes for both teams, but looking good on paper. Now some stats here as well for the teams. The Cowboys have won 4 of the past 6 against the Titans. Titans have won only 1 of the past 13 games in Townsville. Jack Tupergi has scored 5 tries in 5 games. AJ Brimson scored 9 tries in 12 games against the Cowboys. And Murray Taulagi will be playing his 100th NRL game. Congratulations to Murray Taulagi. Now, for the head-to-head between the two, there have been 33 games between each other. Cowboys winning 20 and the Titans winning 13. In the past 10 games between each other, there have been 5 games apiece. And the last couple of games have been really close. The Cowboys have won 4 of the last 6, like I just said previously. And as well, Titans have only won of their last 5 games at Queensland Country Bank. Their only win at the venue back in 2021 when they won 44 points to 8. So not much success up there in Townsville in recent times. But for this game, I'm going to back the Cowboys for this one. I think Cowboys will win this one to win 1-12 and win 4 in a row. So Cowboys to win by 12. Scoreline 26-14. First try scorer will go Murray Taulagi, and anytime try scorers will go Jamarai Nanai, and for the Titans will go Philip Sami to score. So Cowboys to win 1-12. Now we move into our final Saturday game, kicking off from 7:35 p.m. from CommBank Stadium. We have the 15th place Penrith Panthers going against the 11th place Manly Sea Eagles. Now, last week's games, the Sea Eagles coming off a comeback loss to the Dragons, falling just short, losing 20 points to 18 at 4 Pines Park. So the second consecutive loss at home. And as for the Panthers, finally snapping that 5-game losing streak, beating the Roosters 40 points to 12 in an act of revenge after what had happened back in round 2. Now let's go through the team list for both teams. Luke Summerton takes over at hooker from Mitch Kenny, who has been suspended, while Isaac Tago is back in the centres in place of Luke Garner, who suffered a concussion. Mark Guyver has been added to the bench for his first NRL game since round 25 last year. Now for Manly, this is where there's a huge boost in here. Tom Trbojevic returns at fullback after missing out 3 games with a knee injury. Lee Hopewade moves onto the wing. Tommy Talau goes to the bench, with Kate Clayton Falongo dropping out. Jake Trbojevic enters the concussion protocol, so Justin Vunga moves to lock. Jake Simpkin at hooker. Josh Alirai returns from a shoulder injury in the starting front row. And Corey Waddell is back from suspension onto the bench. Sipley is facing a suspension where he appears at the judiciary tonight. Nathan Brown has been named on the bench despite suffering a shoulder injury against the Dragons. So, Manly, huge boost for Turbo. Wowee. Panthers have won 9 of the last 10 against Manly. Seagulls have lost their last 3 games at CommBank Stadium. Dylan Edwards has scored 8 tries in his last 6 against the Seagulls. William Garrick has scored 7 tries in his last 6 games at CommBank Stadium. And Casey McLean has scored 5 tries in his past 6 games. There have been 97 games between the Seagulls and Panthers, with Manly winning 53, Panthers 43, and 1 draw thrown in there as well. In the past 10 games between each other, like I just said previously, Penrith have won 9 of the last 10, winning 7 in a row between 2018 and 2023. And this will be the first time these two teams have clashed at CommBank Stadium as well. So for this game, this one's a flip of a coin game as well. But for this one, just from what shown last week, I think Panthers will win this one, despite Turbo being back for Manly and on the verge of losing 3 in a row, or 3 or 4 in a row. It's one of them ones. I think Panthers will win this one in just a close contest. Panthers win by 2 points, I reckon. 22-20. First try scorer from Seagulls, Tom Trbojevic. Anytime try scorers, we'll go Homole Oladu. And for the Panthers, we will go Isaiah Yeo to score. So, Panthers to win in a close game. 2 points. 1-12. Alright, now we move into our Sunday fixtures. The first one from 2 p.m. from GIO Stadium in the nation's capital. We have the 3rd place Canberra Raiders going against the 10th place Dolphins. Now, both teams are coming off enormous wins last week. The Dolphins getting their first win, a major upset against the Storm, 42 points to 22. And the Raiders making a spiritual comeback against the Titans from 16 points down to win 30 points to 20 on the Gold Coast last week. Now let's go through the team list for both of the teams. So with the Raiders, they've named the same 17 with Josh Papali'i and Morgan Smith in line for another game day swap, as the case for recent weeks. Simi Sasagani is listed as 18th man. Now for the Dolphins, Francis Bolo makes his club debut in the front row, and Mark Nichols moves to lock to replace Felice Kifisi knee injury. Jeremy Marshall King remains sidelined with a fractured leg, but Max Fyfe has been named to play despite suffering a foot injury against the Storm last week. So this is going to be the game of the round, in my opinion. The best game to watch than any other game this round. Now some stats here. Raiders have won their last 2 games against the Dolphins by 1 point. This will be the Dolphins' first game at GIO Stadium as well. Hudson Young has scored 6 tries in his last 3 games. Dolphins are aiming for a club record for 4th consecutive win. Xavier Savage has scored 5 tries in his last 5 games at GIO Stadium. There have been 3 games between each other. Dolphins winning the first one, and Raiders winning the next 2 by 1 point. And these games have been decided by less than 6 points. So this should be a quality game between each other. But for this one can go either way. But I'm going to back the Raiders in this one. I won't be surprised if the Dolphins win this one as well. But I think where the Raiders are at the moment, I think they'll just get this one over. Raiders to win by 4. 26-22 scoreline. First try scorer goes to the Dolphins in the Hammer, Tabarai Fide. And anytime try scorers, Herbie Farnworth. And for the Raiders, Xavier Savage. So Raiders to win this one in a nail-bowling contest by 4. 1-12. Raiders to win. And now we move into our final game of Anzac round 8. And we are heading to Leichhardt Oval for the first time this year. We have the 12th place West Tigers going against the 6th place Cronulla Sharks. The Sharks coming off a domination win over the Knights in Newcastle last week, winning 34-14. As for the Tigers, losing to the Parramatta Eels in a really good game, losing 38-22 at CommBank Stadium. Now let's go through the team list for both teams. So, despite being dropped last week, Lachlan Galvin returns in the number 6 jersey to partner Jerome Luai in the halves. Adam Dewey returns to the centres. Brett Nathan into the wing. And Luke Laradaliti is out. Royce Hunt returns onto the bench after missing the Easter Monday clash against the Eagles. And for the Sharks, Toby Rudolph is out with an ankle injury and has been replaced by Tukupa Kihau-Tapia. Is the only change in the squad that downed the Knights last week. Brayden Helen-Uele is listed among the reserves as he looks to return from a knee injury that's been out since round 3. Now let's go through the head-to-head between the two teams. There have been 38 games between the two teams. The Tigers winning one more win, 19, and the Sharks winning 18, and one draw thrown in there as well. In the past 10 games between each other, it has been in favour of the Sharks. They won 8 of the last 10, including winning 5 of the last 6 games. However, last time these two played at Leichhardt Oval back last year, the West Tigers demolished the Sharks, winning 32 points to 6. However, the Sharks have also won 2 of their last 3 games at Leichhardt Oval against the Tigers as well. And this should be a juicy game between each other as well. As well, the Tigers have won 2 of their past 13 against the Sharks. Sam Stonestring has scored 6 tries in his last 6 games. Tigers have won 4 of their last 6 at Leichhardt Oval. Alex Twal will make his 150th NRL appearance, and Renato Molitello has scored 6 tries in his last 6 games against the Tigers. For this one, I will back the Sharks in this one. Even with Galvin back, I think the Tigers will just fall short. Sharks to win by 10, 1-12, 28-18 scoreline. First try scorer will go to the Tigers, actually. We'll go Jermaine Buller to score first. Anytime try scorers, Sam Stonestreet. And I reckon Alex Twal scores in his 150th game. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to wrap up my round 8 NRL tips of the 2025 season Anzac round as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and don't forget to comment down below what you think of my tips, and comment down below what your tips are for each game this week. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, good luck with your teams this week. Good luck with your tips as well, except for the Melbourne Storm, of course. And of course, I will be at Amy Park for just the second time ever on Friday night. I'll be heading down in about 48 hours or so from now. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. See you all in the next one.